tablet, you can access your files. Even if you are at the mall, you can still access your office files. Even if you are at home, you can still access your files. This gives the employee or the person the power, to move around and still work at the same time. This is very convenient or very, let's say, applicable, for example, to those R&D persons who are always in research and development, who are not required to go to the office every day, and they can just work at home, and then wherever they are, they can just input their data, input their information. They can be in Boracay, for example, but still access the office network and work at the same time. Last one is the TCO savings. So TCO savings is one of the things that we push to our clients, because initially they will say, I might, bring out a lot of money as compared to just buying 100, 200 desktops to what you are proposing to me. But if you are going to look into the TCO computation, you will see right there, for a 3-year setup, you will save at the minimum 30%. Okay, so that's just too much for a 3-year setup for the TCO. Okay, next. And even Gartner says that around 2014, 70 million users will be using the desktop cloud solution. So, andyan na yung trend, papunta na dyan. Kasi before around 2008, not many are well aware of the cloud computing era or the cloud computing technology. But as time goes by, na-accept na ng tao, so they nalalaman nila the benefits of having a cloud technology within themselves. That's why they predict around 70 million users by 2014. And this is the architecture that we have for Huawei. So we have our own server, we have our own storage, our own network, and security devices. Maybe for most of you, kilala lang si Huawei dun sa globe tattoo stick that they used when they go to the internet. Yun lang kasi nakikita nila kapag nag-install siya. But Huawei actually has a large series of portfolio within the company. And one of those are the servers and this infrastructure to support the VDI setup. We also have our own virtualization platform. Okay, we made our own virtualization application. And then whatever it is, how you will access it, through Windows, Linux, web desktop, whatever application is, because we are based on an open API standard. You can access it with any layer or any terminal that you would like to. We have our own thin clients. So yung mga thin clients na yan, if you will see yung nasa uppermost portion of your screen on the left side, those are the thin clients. We have different models because we believe na hindi lahat naman ng company pare-pareho ng requirement. If the company requires a dual display option, we have the thin client for that. If a certain company requires 720p resolution for their screen, we can also have that. Okay, so it really depends. For the call center, for regular office applications, we have the specific thin client use. So ano lang yung gagawin ng user? Pupunta siya sa desk niya, nakakabit yung thin client sa likod ng monitor, nakakabit yung keyboard, mouse, and then maglalagin siya. It's just like experiencing the same desktop feeling, but with a more secure feature. Okay. Next one. So this is just some of the highlights that we have because we are flexible, we are secured, and we are efficient. Yung mga next slides, makikita natin yan. So yung mga stars na mapapansin niyo dyan, those are Huawei features. So one thing that I can mention is in terms of access control, we have the option, for example, a fingerprint reader, or you can just type your regular username or password, or just you can use a USB key. You really have the option. It depends dun sa policies ng company. We also have what we call yung file authority control. When we send files, when the user or when the receiver receives the file, what you can do is set a policy na he can just read it. He will not be able to edit it. If they want to save it, they will ask permission from you. This is very important, especially for financial industries or for banking industries that they want confidentiality for their files. Okay? Next one. And in terms of security, again, we have what we call high availability. So this one is a server, this is another server, these are the virtual machines. So in cases na nasira yung server natin, the virtual machines will just go to the next available server. So what will, ano yung implication nun? The user will not experience downtime. He will just continue working as it is. And another beauty of this is that, di ba meron tayong mga, sa regular desktop, kapag nasira yung desktop natin, hanggang hindi siya nagagawa, we cannot work. We cannot log into another terminal or another desktop kasi what we will see is yung mga files niya. But by using a VDI setup, if we have many terminals, we have many clients set up, we can choose whatever terminal we want to log in. Regardless of what terminal it is, you will see your files. You will be able to browse the applications that are for you. So that is one very good advantage of a VDI setup. Another one, as I mentioned earlier, we can have backups of the virtual machines. Okay? And we have many supports for many USB peripherals. We also support enhancements for flash accelerations and multimedia. We support dual display. We also have high-quality voice experience for the call center industry. And the access for the desktop is just 5 seconds upon logging in. For the management, you can monitor physically and virtually. Meaning, yung physical resources mo, malalaman mo kung malapit na ba siyang maubos or madami pa. Marami ka pa bang hard disk? Is your processor enough? Is your memory enough? Virtually, yung mga desktops, yung mga virtual desktops, you can see kung ano yung mga nako-consume niya. Just like the physical ones. Okay, so you can have a distinction with both. And service request on demand, this only means that, for example, initially you had 500 users set up for your company, and eventually, naging, let's say, 1,000 or 10,000 users, we just have to upgrade the infrastructure itself. So it is very flexible to cater those kinds of requirements. Okay, so next. This one is just for call center. It only says that we can have a separate line for the voice data. So we have a separate setup for that, and we also have a separate application for call center requirements. Okay, next. Some successful cases, I will show you 3 cases. This one is our office itself. We are the ones who pioneered this in our office, in our Shanghai, Nanjing, Beijing, and Shenzhen, around 45,000. But eventually, we added some that's now 60,000. So that means around 60,000 employees of Huawei are using the VDI setup. That's within Huawei alone. And then another successful case we have is the African Union, wherein they used this in the 18th summit, and they used it in the training for the first stage of that summit. And the next one is in a hospital in China again. This is for cloud services actually. IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. And for the next one is the application or the Asia Pacific College